We're going to look at adding and subtracting, but with unlike fractions, unlike denominators today, okay? I want everybody to grab your calculator out right away, so you have that, because we're going to use that as we do some of this. So I'll give you 30 seconds to a minute. Go grab a calculator so you have that right near you, and we're not searching for it when we actually need it. Okay. The reason I want you to have a calculator is as we do this, depending on what method you use, some of the numbers can get a little bit larger and your calculator is going to help you with that. Okay, so that should hopefully make it a little bit easier if you have your calculator in front of you. Okay, so we're going to talk about two methods, kind of the standard method, which is kind of how I learned it, and a way that works pretty well and gives us less simplifying to have to do, or we're going to use what's called the butterfly method. Has anybody in here ever used the butterfly method or heard of that? Raise your hand if you've heard the butterfly method. Okay, so obviously some of your teachers taught you that last year. Mr. Miner must have. So I'm going to review that with you. Okay? All right, so let's just get right into this. The first example, 1/8 plus 2/7. So I'm going to show you both ways and then we'll kind of pick which one we like better. The standard method means you're just going to find a common denominator. So we're going to start with the standard method. Okay, common denominator means a factor or a multiple that both 8 and 7 have in common. Okay, what's a factor or a multiple that both 8 and 7 have in common? Type it in the chat or just unmute yourself and say it. Anybody know? So a multiple that 8 and 7 have in common is 56, right? So that would be so a few of you put that in the chat, thank you. So after you get that, you're then going to rewrite the fractions with that common denominator. Okay, so instead of 1/8 plus 2/7, we're going to have the bottom number be 56. Okay, and if you change the bottom number, you have to change the top number. So I multiplied 8 by 7 to get 56. I have to multiply the top by that. And 7 times 8 is 56, so 2 times 8 is 16. Okay, at that point, when we add fractions, we keep the bottom number the same, and we add or subtract the top numbers. So 7 plus 16 is 23. And then we look if we can simplify. Can I simplify 23 over 56? Nope, so I'm done. Okay, that method wasn't so bad. I'm going to be completely honest, you guys, I like the butterfly method. Okay, so you're going to see me use the butterfly method a lot. Here's how the butterfly method works. We're going to take our problem, 1/8 plus 2/7. And we're essentially going to draw a butterfly out of it. Okay, and here's how I'm going to draw my butterfly. I'm going to circle the diagonals. I'm going to connect the two bottom numbers, and I'm going to put antennas on it. Kind of looks like a butterfly, right? Okay, and when I do that, what I'm doing is 8 times 2, I'm going to multiply these diagonals, is 16. 7 times 1 is 7. I'm going to multiply the bottom two numbers, and I get 56. And then I'm just going to add the top. Okay, so when I add the top, 7 plus 16 is 23. And this number right here, the 56, is my bottom number. Since I can't simplify anything, I'm done. Okay. Now the butterfly method is really quick because you don't have to rewrite everything. You just have to do some multiplying. Now, do you need to draw in all the circles and all of that? No. Okay? But if it helps you, absolutely. Questions on that one? Okay, let's look at another one. The next one is 4/5 plus 1/6. Okay, I want you to type in the chat, what method do you think you're going to use? The standard method or the butterfly method? If you had to choose, type in the chat either standard or butterfly. Okay, I think most of you responded, and I would say 95% of you said butterfly method. There was a couple of you that said standard, and you can definitely use that. In example B, the common denominator between 5 and 6 is 30. So you would rewrite them with a denominator of 30. So if you were going to use the standard method, 5 times 6 is 30, so the top number would be 24. 6 times 5 is 30, so there the top number would be 5. And then you just add 24 plus 5 is 29 over 30. Those of you that like the butterfly method, 4/5 plus 1/6. Okay, we're going to multiply the 5 and the 1 to give us 5. We're going to multiply the 4 and the 6 to give us 24. We're going to multiply the two bottom numbers to give us 30. Okay, the plus sign comes up between the 24 and the 5. So 24 plus 5 is 29. The bottom number stays 30. And we can't simplify that, so we're done. Okay? Questions so far? Okay, the next one's going to look a little bit different because it has mixed numbers. If we see a problem with mixed numbers, we're going to always do this first. Okay, we wouldn't have to write them as improper fractions, but you guys, when we're dealing with subtracting and negatives, it's going to make it easier. Okay, so before you do anything, plus when we are doing multiplying and dividing, we put them as improper fractions anyway. So we're always going to take all of our mixed numbers and write them as improper fractions. So what is 2 and 1/6 as an improper fraction? Somebody put it in the chat for me. So it's 13 over 6. Absolutely. Okay, what is 2 and 2/9 as an improper fraction? Nice job. Most of you are putting 20 over 9 in the chat, and there's a minus sign between it. Okay, now some of you can definitely use the standard. I'm just going to do the butterfly method here. Hang on one second. Lindsay, you're just joining us. Can you go to Hello Smart? And you should be able to, it should bring you right to the screen that we're all on. Okay. So the butterfly method, I'm going to use that one. I'm going to take my improper fractions. Okay, so I have 13 over 6 minus 20 over 9. And then we're going to do that whole butterfly method. So I'm going to circle my diagonals. 6 times 20 is 120. Okay. 13 times 9, and this is why I said maybe a calculator is helpful, right? If you don't know 13 times 9 off the top of your head, but it is 117. And 6 times 9 is 54. Okay, there's a minus sign in the middle here, so I'm going to put a minus sign between the 117 and the 120. Okay, so I have to do 117 minus 120. And you can definitely do your keep, change if you want. So I know my answer is going to be negative. It's going to be negative 3 over 54. Whatever this bottom number is the bottom number. Can I simplify negative 3 over 54? This is where some of you get stuck. And I don't know why, but I think some of you see an odd number and an even number and think, nope, I can't simplify it. You can. What can both 3 and 54 be divided by? Yeah, some of you are typing in the chat, you can divide by 3. So don't forget to always check if you can divide by 3. That's typically the one you guys forget. So it's going to be negative 1 over 54 divided by 3 is 18. So negative 1 over 18. Now, if you would have used the standard method, some of you who like the standard method might have saw that 18 is a common denominator. So you could have written these fractions as both a number over 18. 6 times 3 is 18 and 13 times 3 is 39. 9 times 2 and 20 times 2 is 40. And then when you do 39 minus 40, you get negative 1 over 18. So you get the same answer, you just didn't have to simplify at the end. It's not really hard to simplify though. Questions on that? Okay, we're going to do one more as a class. Okay, we have 1 1/6 minus 1 5/8. So again, the first thing we're going to do is write everything as an improper fraction. So what's 1 1/6 as an improper fraction? Type it in the chat for me. Got 3 people who have typed in the chat. 4, 5. It's not very good when we only have 6 out of 26 people that have typed something in the chat. So 1 1/6 as an improper fraction is 7 over 6. And then we have a minus sign. What's 1 5/8 as an improper fraction? Go ahead and type that in the chat. So nice job. Most of you are saying 13 over 8. Okay. Then I'm going to use a butterfly method. That just works well for me. So I have 7 over 6 minus 13 over 8. We're going to multiply the 13 and the 6. So 13 times 6 is 78. 7 times 8 is 56. There's a minus sign between there. 6 times 8 is 48. Okay. You can use your calculator then on the top. I could just type in 56 minus 78. That's negative 22 over 48. Can I simplify that? What can I divide both 22 and 48 by? Absolutely, I can divide by 2. So you get negative 11 over 24. So there's our answer to that problem. Questions there? Okay, your guys' turn. I'm going to have you try some. Now, I don't care which method you use. Personally, I choose the butterfly method because it's pretty quick and everything's kind of in one spot. Okay, so I'm going to give you a problem. Here is the problem. Now, before we start on this one, I'm going to tell you that the negative sign on the 1, okay, that negative sign in front of 1/3 goes with the 1. So I would write this as, I'm going to write this on here first, negative 1/3 minus 11/16. Okay, put that negative sign on the top. Okay, so I'm going to have you try it. Go ahead and click start and see what you come up with. Like I said, I don't care what you use. If you use the standard method or the butterfly method, either will work. Be careful with the negative and the minus. Carson, when you write your numbers as you're doing the butterfly method and you multiply diagonally, put your numbers at the top. So always put your numbers at the top. Ben, make sure you do the butterfly method, or be careful with your negative signs. I think you made a mistake on negative signs there. Jesse, nice job. You have it correct. Maddie, nice job. You have it. Or Maddie Kramer. Matthew, you're really close. You just need to have a negative sign on there. Be careful that there's a subtraction sign in the middle. So Migna, be careful on that subtraction sign in the middle. It'd be negative 16 minus 33. Riley, nice job. You've got it. Savannah, you've got it. Travis, when you do your multiplying diagonally, always put the numbers at the top. So the negative 16 should go on the top left corner there. Okay, so I'm going to run through this. I want you guys to split your screens or be able to look at your problem versus what I'm doing, because lots of you have a couple minor mistakes, nothing major, but I want you to be able to see this. So you should have got, if you did this correctly, your answer would have been negative 49 over 48, or negative 1 and 1/48. Okay, so if you did not get that, make sure you're paying attention here. If you do the butterfly method, and I draw this in, okay, make sure you always write your multiplying. 3 times 11 goes on the top here, so it's 33. And 16 times negative 1 is negative 16, and there's a minus sign between there. On the bottom, 3 times 16 is 48. Okay, so that's where I know my bottom number is 48. The top number we have to be careful with. Here's where some of you made your mistake, and this is why some of you put 17, because, or negative 17, because you did 33 minus 16. But it's negative 16 minus 33. And if we have negative 16 minus 33, I would do keep, change, change. So that's going to be negative 49. So you end up with negative 49 over 48. Questions there? Do you see your mistake if you made one? Hopefully. Okay, let's try another one and see how we do on this one. Okay, on this one, you need to write them as improper fractions first. Okay, so go ahead and click start as soon as you are able to. Make sure you write them as improper fractions first. So before you do anything else, write everything as an improper fraction. So Travis, you should be writing something on your screen right now. Jordan, make sure we're writing something down. Jada, be careful that bottom number, you have to multiply the two bottom numbers together. Kaden, be careful because there's a minus sign between there. Okay, some of you who only have an answer on your screen, I want to see some of the work too. So here's my fear right now, and I have a feeling that I'm right. Some of you are probably using some sort of technology to help you get the answer rather than showing your work. And that's all great to help you check your answer, but if you don't know how to do the problem, it's not really helping you. So I need to see some work. If you only have an answer on your screen, you need to write something else. Because by the time you get to 8th grade, 9th grade, and I see it, thank you for some of you for holding up your paper to the screen so I can see it. If you did it on scratch paper, that'd be great if you hold it up to your camera. Perfect, thank you. I know it's a lot to write on. Okay, so if you did this correctly, the answer should be 17 over 8 or 2 1/8. Okay, so split your screen so you can see how I get that answer. I would have written 5 3/4 as an improper fraction, which is 23 over 4, minus 3 5/8 is 29 over 8. Okay, then I'm going to do the butterfly method. So 4 times 29 is 116. 23 times 8 is 184. And on the bottom, 4 times 8 is 32. Okay, remember there's a minus sign between there. So that's where some of you made a mistake because you added instead of subtracted. But 184 minus 116, you get 68 over 32. And then you can simplify. I divided by 2 and had 34 over 16. And then I divided by 2 again to get 17 over 8. And you can leave it like that, or you can write it as 2 and 1/8. Either way works. Okay? Questions there? All right, last one. Try this one. Go ahead and click start. Kaden, try refreshing your screen if it's not showing up. Make sure you write them as improper fractions first. Kaden, be careful. You have one positive number and one negative. Remember, if there are different signs, you have to subtract. So subtract the two numerators. Bryn, be careful with that also. Brooke, be careful with that too. So remember, it's going to be a positive 9 and a negative 40. So be really careful with negative numbers. Savannah, be careful with negative numbers. So those of you that are getting negative 49 over 15, be careful with negatives. And I appreciate those of you that are showing me your work on Zoom by holding your paper up to your camera. I appreciate that. Nice job, you guys. Okay, so the correct answer here, if you did it correctly, you should have negative 31 over 15 or negative 2 and 1/15. Okay, so if you didn't get that, pay attention up here. We'd have 3/5 plus, this would be negative 8 over 3. Then you're going to use your butterfly method. And you don't necessarily have to circle. Sometimes you can just draw the lines, right? 5 times negative 8 is negative 40. 3 times 3 is 9. 5 times 3 is 15. Here's where I said you have to be careful with negatives. On the top, I have 9 plus negative 40. Okay, same. And then our rules, that song still applies. Same signs, add and keep. Different signs, subtract. So since they're different, I would subtract, and I get negative 31 over 15. Or you could write that as negative 2 and 1/15. Either one of those answers would be acceptable. Any questions there? Okay, so that is all I have